Lightworkers Unite is a podcast and social show hosted by intuitive women, lightworkers, and most importantly, friends, Mayume and Manjeet. Welcome to our podcast, where we believe there is a lightworker within all of us.
Whether you are a medium, an educator, or a nuclear technologist, there's a lightworker within you, and we have work to do.
This is a call to action.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Hi, Manjeet. How's it going?
Hello, my beautiful sister, my beautiful Mayume. I missed you. You were gone on the weekend, and I don't like it.
Oh, you're so funny. You're so funny. Look at you. You're like a beautiful blonde bombshell.
Oh,
like,
geez.
How about that? Look at you and your gorgeous hair. For those that are watching or those that are listening, she is a beautiful blonde right now. Yeah, it's hot. I love it.
Hot. Well, I was telling, we were talking about it earlier, and as soon as my hairdresser had finished my hair, I told her that I needed a fan stat because I'm gonna Beyonce the shit out of this hair as much as I can. I need a ring on my finger and a fan.
I love it. Oh my gosh, you should do it.
It's so blonde.
We should video it and put it on the show.
We should.
Manjeet. I would love that. Oh, no, it looks great.
Thank you.
So,
I like that you're back, and I like that you're closer to where I am in my field. Thank you for coming back. And
oh my gosh, you're so funny. Yeah, it was great. Thanks. Yeah, we were in Chelan. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And it's great to be back, sort of. I mean, yes, but I just if I could work out of Chelan, I would. So stay tuned for that. As soon as this house is ready, we are doing retreats there, sister. We're doing some freaking gatherings there. Like, I'm so fired up about it. So,
I can't wait. Yes. So stay tuned, and we're going to talk a little bit more about our goddess gatherings. Maybe it's going to be, we'll do like a retreat out there.
A traveling goddess. Oh my gosh.
Good God. It's happening.
Good God. So fun.
Goddess.
Yes.
Good goddess.
Good goddess. We're such dorks. So what are we doing today, Missy? We are doing
I'm so fucking psyched about this. I just have to tell you. So awesome. We are recording. This is part 2. You've all probably heard part 1 episode of Bigfoot, where we talk about what our thoughts are about it. We kind of go all over the board. So that's a badass, really fun episode. And this episode is all about, get ready, hold on to your shit. I'm going to interview 2 people who have eyewitness accounts of Bigfoot.
It's just so crazy. It's so awesome. I'm super excited. I can't wait to hear people's reactions. And I know we said this in the other episode of part 1 that yes, here are 2 spiritual, intuitive women who work in spirituality and coaching and gatherings and mediumship and all this. And yet we can't help ourselves, but we have to bring in the mystical creatures. So aliens, mermaids, and Bigfoot. So here we go. So these are pre-recorded interviews. I myself interview my awesome cousin, Mike Varnell, who lives in Gold Bar. He also, I want to do a little promo for him, is the owner and runner of Timber Monster Brewing Company that is in Gold Bar. It's fucking awesome. Great food, great energy. So they also have a little coffee shop or a coffee stand. So Timber Monster, check it out in Gold Bar. But he and it was so great to see his face. We did our interview over Zoom and just to see my baby cousin. He's, younger than me, but I just really enjoyed the interview, and listening to his experiences was just fucking crazy. It's good stuff.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't. Yeah, it's going to be nuts. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Thank you. And you?
Yes. I've interviewed somebody very close to my heart. My husband, William Russell. He has had a really strange Bigfoot encounter when he was young, and so I interviewed him, and it's just bone chilling. The reenact, like the way he, there's this, just the way he tells a story. It's like he's a 7-year-old boy again. It's like
Oh, I bet.
this
Oh,
little
I
kid.
can't.
So it's
It's
really cool. It's
I
very, very exciting.
yes, so cool. It is
So
crazy
enjoy these
exciting.
stories.
You guys are going to love it so much. So, yep, here they are. Stay tuned, and they're going to play back to back, but stay till the very end for sure. And we hope you guys enjoy this. All right, so start from the beginning. Like I want to hear all the good shit.
Okay. Oh, well, your dad and my dad, we were always out in the outdoors,
Yep.
as kids. And being up in the Pilchuck area, I remember a couple times just being out with my dad, and I think the sensitivity to different things runs in our family, not only just with different creatures, but the whole paranormal. It's a whole nother subject we can talk about later. But
I love all that.
even my youngest son Garrett, he is very strong into that too,
Is
which
he?
is strange. And but anyways, so always I've been very, very, very comfortable in the outdoors, and just can go anywhere, do anything, and really not really care. I've seen cougars, bear, all the wildlife out in the woods.
Right.
And there's just some times that you walk into places that it's just like you just feel something's watching you.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had those occasions, and really nothing that's shown itself. And then it was actually where I live in Gold Bar. Our backyard there's like 40 acres behind us, and then it just goes up into the mountains. And it was my first experience was probably back in 2004, and really wasn't expecting anything. This was before all the TV shows and everything. And the only way I could describe it, it sounded like some werewolf scream off the TV, and it was way off in the distance. I'm like, what in the heck was that? And then I heard it again, and it was getting closer and closer and closer. And I was like, good God, I got to go to Brandy. So I ran in the house, said, Brandy, you got to hear this. And it came out, and it was literally probably when it screamed, it was in the back corner of our property. We have about 5 acres of property here.
Oh,
and Brandy goes, what was that? And I go, I have no clue.
oh my God.
And it was just this god awful, just loud. And it wasn't like it was long, distinct, drawn out
and moving closer.
Moving closer. And then it literally was right behind our fire pit and let off this great big scream. To the point where I took Brandy and I opened the door, said, go get my freaking gun.
Oh my God.
And she comes back and running out, and the light wasn't strong enough to go beyond the fire pit, but I could hear it breathing. And then it ran off again, and Brandy came off.
You could hear it breathing.
Oh yeah, you can hear it breathing. You can hear it just like smashing brush and going through there. And it was right on the edge. And then it ran off and screamed again. And then there was like 2 things running with it. You could hear other things crunching and running. So I don't know if something was chasing it or if it was, I don't know.
Mini Bigfoot?
I don't know. And then it screamed again, just down the way. And then after that, it just kind of disappeared.
Whoa. So what do you think? Why was it coming towards your place? Like,
I don't, there's an old apple orchard behind us. And I know during the late fall, the boys, when they're young, and they didn't ever say anything until the whole Bigfoot thing, we started talking about it. And they go, we used to play hide and seek back there, and we would hear things that the only way they could describe it, they said it sounded like a dinosaur screaming.
Oh my God.
And they would get the heck out of there every time they heard the dinosaur scream. And I go, how often that happened? They go, oh, it happened 4 or 5 times in our childhood.
Oh my God.
So since then, they developed it there. Well, they haven't developed, but they put 3 or 4 houses, and I haven't seen. And if I fast forward, got about 5 years ago, there was, we had chickens. So we started having rodents. So I put a couple traps out there and killed them out by the chicken coop. Well, I went out to go throw it over the fence. And the only way, have you ever heard one of those screeching apes at the
yes.
zoo? Or,
zoo? Yes.
And I went to the fence, and I was walking towards it, and something just screamed. And it was midnight. It was before actually I was going hunting. Yeah, so it was October. and this thing just went whop. Just I'm like, what the hell was that?
God, scared the
And then
crap
so I
out of
started walking closer and it let off two great big whoops. And I just went, all right. So I ran back to try and get my phone and come out there and see if I can hear a recording.
me. Ah,
And it was gone. There was nothing there. But that's kind of been around the house.
those sounds are probably just to get you away from them, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I must
hey,
have been walking over there because, the apple orchard, there's a lot of food back there, I would think, in the late fall. And we have all kinds of bears that go out there too, and
sure.
deer. And the only thing I think of is food, berries, everything that comes down,
Yeah,
because it's kind of connected all the way back up to the mountains. It wouldn't have to go through a lot of civilization to get to
right.
where those are. So,
Oh my God, so interesting.
and then, gosh, it was probably, well, flip phones are still a thing. So how about that? So
Yeah.
it was 2005. It wasn't too long after that one incident in the backyard. And I fish, that's something I do. I've learned that from our family,
Yeah.
both of our fathers.
Yeah, I love it.
And I was fishing by myself in a spot that, I go to quite often. And again, there's nothing behind it. It's out in the middle of nowhere. And I was fishing and a rock flew into the middle of the river. And I went, where did that come from?
You mean just like right in front of you?
Yeah, it was just like a rock. It was probably 30 feet in front of me.
Huh.
And I kind of looked and I'm looking around and I start looking into the woods and didn't see anything. I'm like, maybe a bird dropped something, whatever it was.
Right, because you can tell
And
where it was coming from.
no,
No, just out of nowhere. Okay.
yeah. And then I started fishing again. Now I'm kind of, all right, then bloop, almost the exact same spot. Now I'm going, all right, something. I thought, my mind, kids are messing with me somewhere.
Yeah.
So I could see it was winter. I could see into the woods probably 50 yards. And I'm looking, don't see anything. I'm like, all right, they're just messing with me. Now I'm trying to concentrate where it's coming from.
Right.
So I'm fishing, going on fishing, all of a sudden, bloop, and I saw from the woods back in there. I'm like, okay. So now I kind of screamed out. I said, hey, I said, I have my 45 on me. Don't make me, send out a warning shot. I said, knock it off. I'm trying to fish here. Just leave me alone.
Were you scared, Mike?
At that point, no.
No.
I
Okay.
just thought it was kids.
You just saw as kids. Yep. Okay.
So it happened probably another half dozen times.
Seriously.
And so now I'm like, all right, these little turds are trying to, they're probably back there chuckling. So I'm now just watching the woods. Really, I could get it down to the spot where it was. The next time a rock came out is about the size of a basketball.
Holy shit.
And because you've been in the river, how you throw the rocks and it crackles on the bottom and everything.
Yes.
It hit just went baloosh, and it just crackle. And I'm going, at that point, I'm like, that there is no way that I could physically throw that size of rock. And
No.
the river, from the edge of the river to where it was probably a good 40 feet.
Oh my God.
So it came from another, at least 50 yards inside of that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You can't see anything.
no, there was nothing.
Nothing.
And so I literally took my stuff and I picked up my phone, called Brandy, and said, here's my coordinates. Here's my path that I'm coming back out. I said,
Oh shit.
something's throwing rocks at me. And I go, the last rock, I said, they're freaking huge.
Yeah.
And she goes, what is it? I said, I have no idea what it is, but I'm out of here.
I'm out.
So I packed my stuff up and got the hell out of there.
Oh my God. I mean, did you have like chills, the feeling?
yeah.
Now you're like, shit.
Well, I'm like, in my mind, there's only, one thing that possibly could do that.
Right.
Otherwise a really big person. And again, this is before all these shows and everything came out.
Yeah.
And listen to other people's experiences. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until, we were in Oregon and that Finding Bigfoot came out. And then, no, it was some other show, but there was a Native American who was talking about, he was in a canoe and something was throwing rocks at him in the water in his canoe.
Oh no.
And I told Brandy, I'm like, that's what was happening. They were trying to, the salmon were running pretty good. So most likely that was also their fishing spot and
Ah,
probably wanting to come down and get some salmon.
and wanted you to get the hell out of there,
Yeah, didn't want me there while they were there, or he was there, or she was there, whatever it was.
whatever it was.
So that's the only thing that I can think of
Oh my
logically.
God. I just got
You know.
chills with the big rock. That is just insane. I can imagine what you were thinking or feeling. Just like,
Yeah,
holy-
the little ones were nothing. The little ones were just, people could do that,
yeah,
and it was the one, like I said, I mean, I saw it right before it hit the water. I mean, I looked at it, I went, it just like
yeah.
shocked me, holy cow. you know, and
And still, you can't tell if this is coming from in front, behind you, to the side. Like it's just coming out of
I'm
the
pretty
sky,
sure it was coming because the way it was dead in front of me,
dead in front of you.
because
Oh my
on
God.
the side, it was kind of thicker,
Yeah.
but the rocks, you know how you can tell when they're splashing where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So the little ones were coming, they're hitting and kind of coming towards me.
Yep. Gotcha.
And so
Insane.
yeah, that was an experience. That was probably my first big, what the hell type thing,
Right.
and so then,
Oh.
fast forward, gosh, there was another time that me and Brandy were fishing over in Eastern Washington, over by Lake Bonaparte. And we found a couple lakes that were just out in the middle of nowhere. And it was kind of cool. We went to this one spot and we actually heard a wolf kind of howl.
Hmm.
And she was like, "What was that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. That was actually a wolf."
Mhm.
It was like that stereotypical, howl. And she was like, "Wow." And then we moved down to the other end of the lake and we were sitting there and we're just quiet. I mean, it's quiet and we're enjoying it. And then we hear this, knock, knock on a tree. And it was way down lake, almost like where we first were at, way down.
Yeah.
And she goes, "What was that?" And I'm like, sounded like a tree knock. It sounded like, something was smacking a tree. She goes, "Yeah." And then we were sitting there and it did it again and it was closer. And we kind of started, looking at it going, that was strange. But anyways, it repeated itself to where it got right around maybe 100 yards or so from where we were at.
Did it feel like it was like moving fast? Like, I mean,
It was moving fairly. Between the first knock and the knock where we decided just to leave was probably 15 minutes.
whoa.
And the distance was probably half a mile.
No way.
So, I mean, it was moving.
It was moving.
And Brandy was like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah," because it was just starting to get dark. And I said, "Yeah,
Oh,
we can pack up." And she just basically ran to the truck and said, "Can you just grab my stuff?" I'm like,
oh,
"Yeah." So,
that's probably what I would do too. So,
yeah,
so just knocking on the tree. So what do you
it
think
was
that
just
was?
like knock, like a stick banging against a tree. That's
Yeah.
all it was. And you could hear the crunching. And it wasn't like
Of the
it
feet.
wasn't a scurry. Towards the end
Right.
you could hear it. It was something bipedal that was
Stepping,
walking. Yeah, it
walking.
was.
Oh
Yeah,
my God. Yeah,
and
that's the creepy thing. Because yeah, animals are not knocking on trees.
no,
No.
that was the first time I heard a tree knock. And it was just like you hear the ones that are, again, a lot of these happened previous to any of these shows coming out, and we're watching these shows going, yeah, those were kind of the same thing that we were hearing. So,
Oh my gosh.
and
Great. Right
then,
here in the Pacific Northwest, right?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Oh,
the last one happened maybe 3 years ago,
oh shit.
and it again wasn't looking for anything. Me and Mike Jr. were out, and I'm a rock hound. I like to go find rocks,
Oh.
and so I found a spot that had garnet. And so we went and we were looking in the river. We found some good garnets. We're like, hey, let's follow this creek up and try and find the source. Maybe we can get some bigger garnets. And just like, being out in the woods, we always used to look on the ground to see if we could see bear tracks or deer tracks. It's just
Yeah.
something that you do. And so we're walking up this pretty steep hill, and I'm watching, and there's these big dug in markings. I'm like, wow. And I looked at Mike, and like, something was trying to run up this hill, like it looked like something was running, like a big
Yeah.
deer or elk or a bear.
Gotcha.
And then we got up to the top and we started walking through, and you know how moss is. Like it was just one of those forests that was just wide open, but just thick layer of moss.
Yeah.
And so we're walking through there, and all of a sudden I looked down and it was a print,
A footprint.
An actual footprint.
Holy shit. How big was it?
It was, my foot fit in it with my boot on, and it still was outside of that.
Oh my God.
And I don't ever press on my kids, they can come to their own conclusion. And
Sure.
so they, Mike came up and goes, "What is that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." He goes, "It has toes." I said, "Yeah."
Holy shit. Did you get a picture?
No, I didn't have my phone on because there was no service. It was back in the truck. And
Damn.
yeah, I know. And we were back probably 2-3 miles. So it wasn't, and it was one of those, and we were looking, and there was a couple more, but they weren't as defined as this one.
Oh
And
my God.
between the strides, it was a good 6 feet.
No way.
So it wasn't like short. And sometimes bears, when they step forward and it makes it look like a print.
Sure.
It wasn't that way. You could tell the strides.
Right.
And they were straight. They weren't like off to one side or the other like a bear lumbering through.
And bears have claws.
And so, Mike was looking at it going, "It has toes." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Who would walk out here with no shoes?" I'm like, "I wouldn't," and so it was, and it was deep, and it wasn't like, barely, it was like a good 3 inches down in the moss. I mean, it was like, God, it was definitely print.
Yeah. And heavy, obviously. Weighed a lot to make.
Had a little bit of weight.
Oh my God. You
2
saw
weeks
that.
later,
So
actually,
nice.
Yeah, then a week later, me and Garrett, we bear hunt, and the blueberries are up there and they were ripe. And me and Mike were looking for bears. We had our rifles with us as well when we were garnet hunting. And then we went up. So me and Garrett went there, and we parked where me and Mike were. And there's an old logging road that goes all the way up. And I said, "Let's just go up this logging road up to the berry field and see if we can get a bear." And remind you, this was a week later. And
are these black bears or brown?
Yeah, black bears.
Black bears. Okay.
And so we're hiking. We hiked in about 4 miles on the road, and the road stopped. Then it turned into a trail, and it went way back in there. And it's the only way that you can get into this whole area. There's no other roads unless you came from Stevens Pass, went down the road and up a couple ridges and over to us to where we were. And so we were all the way back and found a really cool camping spot back there amongst the blueberries. And it was along this little creek or river that was starting up there. And we're like, wow, we should come back here camping sometime. And we're like, all right, well, it's dark. And, we have a long hike in front of us still. So we spun around, and we were in, at that point, old growth forest.
Okay.
So you could tell the trees were big, they were spaced out. And it was really dark in there. I said, "So let's get out of here." So we're heading out, and probably within 10 minutes, you hear this loud that scream. Goes, "Whoa!"
That same one that you heard before.
Very similar.
Oh my God.
Very big, loud scream. And I just kind of stopped. Garrett was in front of me. I stopped and didn't say anything. I kept walking, and it happened about 4 more times.
Are you not shitting your pants? I'm sorry.
I was kind of wondering. I'm like, huh.
You seem so calm. Are you just like chill? You're pretty calm, huh? You're a calm guy.
And so and then finally Garrett stops and goes, "What the hell is that screaming at us?" I go, "Oh, you are hearing us then." So to me, I'm like, he goes, "Yeah, I'm hearing this." He goes, "Is that like a bear or a cougar or something?" I'm like, "Well, cougars don't sound that way." I said, they have a different squeal about them. And I said, "Bears," I said, "it wouldn't be that long." And I said, "And it's guttural. It's like this scream." It wasn't. I said, "Bears are like whoa, whoa," and but they're not going to scream.
It's a scream.
And he goes, well, what would it be?" I said, "Well," I know you don't believe in the big furry guy. I said, "But I think it's probably Bigfoot. It's Sasquatch that's out here." And he goes, I just don't believe in that. And I'm like, I said, I respect that. I said, it's completely, I said, but what other animal would do that? I said, if it was a human, Garrett, I said, we would have seen them. I said, plus, how would they get in here?
Yeah, right.
And he goes, well, yeah. And so then we hear it again as we're talking. And it's almost, you know how you're walking down a road and you kind of have a creak on the side and you
Mhm.
have some noise.
Yeah.
You could hear it clear as bell over all of that.
No way.
So, oh yeah, it was loud. It wasn't like hear it in the distance barely. It was like you could hear it
Yeah.
over all the other noise that was around.
Oh my God.
And we were sitting there and it screamed. Well, it was like, I don't want to say it was tracking us, but it was paralleling us.
Okay, gotcha.
But it was up on the ridge. And as soon as we got out of the national forest, we heard it probably another 3 times. As soon as we left the national forest, it let off this long yell. And Garrett goes, good God, what is that?
He's
And
still
I said, I know what I think it is. You can think whatever you want. Mayume, then across the canyon, across the river, we heard another one scream.
another
back,
one.
Scream
Oh,
back. And
shit.
Garrett went, that one is over there. I said, yeah. After we left the national forest, we didn't hear another scream. The big old growth forest, we didn't hear another
No
scream.
way.
Yeah.
They wanted you guys out.
Yeah, I think it was probably picking the berries. That was an area that,
Yeah.
they were going in, maybe a family unit or something, and picking berries.
Oh
Because
my God.
that's where all the big berries are. And I haven't mustered up the courage, but I want to go back at night to that camping spot when the berries are ripe and see if
No,
I
you
can
don't.
actually. I haven't. Like I said, I haven't mustered the courage up yet. Couple of my buddies, I said, I know where we would probably have an experience. I said, I just don't know if I have the courage to go back there and sit and pick a fight with something that I don't know what it
Oh,
is.
I'd never heard that story. So that was 3
Yeah,
years ago?
yeah, that was 3 years ago.
Oh my
Um,
God.
And so since then, I haven't, I don't go out looking for
Right.
anything, but I spend a lot of time in the outdoors, and
Yeah.
um, I just let it happen, and I'm sure that there are Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever in our area. I mean, to think that with all these woods and places to hide, and if it had any type of intellect, I mean,
Yeah.
anybody could stay hidden if they wanted to,
Yeah.
except out in the woods.
Right. Right. It's very dense, places are dense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is just freaky. I love
Yeah.
that Garrett saw the footprint and then hears the screaming and
No, it
still.
was a different brother. Garrett, Mikey,
Oh,
and I
that's
were the
right.
ones.
Sorry. That's right. You went
Mike,
back on
yeah.
him.
So it was 2 different brothers, and when I
Do
told Mikey what
both of
happened,
them not believe?
Mikey, he doesn't not believe, and he doesn't he hasn't had too many experiences yet.
Gotcha.
And the footprint for him was like, what was that? And he actually was one of the ones that talked about the dinosaur screams in the backyard.
Gotcha. Right.
So so I think he's wondering what that stuff is.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't.
Right.
Just our parents, wasn't like they would just tell the stories, and you could draw
That's
your own
right.
conclusion, and
You can draw whatever you want. They just tell the stories.
Yep. And that's it. I've heard other people. There was actually when we were ghost hunting one time up in Wellington.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, long time ago.
Oh shit. I come over and we need to drink some vodka and tell more stories.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a whole other thing on that one. But I wasn't there, but my buddy, they had a few people there and they're recording it, and I can probably dig it up somewhere, but they have the screams I'm talking about.
Yeah. Recorded.
It was on top of the snow shed screaming at them at night when they were up there.
Oh my gosh. And they didn't see anything. They just heard it.
Yeah. And it's, they have, like I said, like 30 to 45 seconds of just that thing wailing at them.
Oh
And
my.
And the crow, as like I said, as the crow flies, that's probably the nearest part where you can get to. So that's probably like 2 ridges over from where we were. And Bert did some investigating after that. And somebody was saying that they think that area is kind of a migratory for a family to come down through that area. So,
Wow. And where is this again? Where? So
that's by Stevens Pass, kind of by Wellington.
Okay, Wellington. That's what you said. Oh my God. Holy crap. That's good stuff. That's crazy. And what does Brandy think of all this? She's freaked out. I mean, I have a feeling that she believes.
She believes. She's after the few incidents, she definitely thinks that there's something out there.
Something's out there.
But without, the whole thing about it, like she said, if she saw something like that, she would just, absolutely freak out.
Yeah, me too. I don't want to see it. I mean, I do, but I don't. Like, I kind of do, but I don't.
One of those things that, I want to.
You want to, yeah.
But again, I don't go looking for it.
Right. Well, and the thing is, we want to be safe. Like, yeah, maybe it'd be cool to see it and have an experience or whatever, but you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to hurt them. And, you're trying to mind your own business. So yeah. Well,
cool.
If you ever decide to go back up to that camping spot, you better let me know.
Oh yeah. Well, even, I mean, it's one of those spots that it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, at the same time, it's just kind of dark the whole time.
Oh,
because it's just in the national forest. So it's not like a sunny spot. It's one of those spots that like your dad and my dad would describe as kind of an eerie, kind of a dark spot on the river.
Yep. Where they'd like to sit and have a beer, talk. Yeah. Love it.
So it was just one of those, spots. It's just kind of it's a neat spot, but I would expect there would be animals or whatever coming through that area. So
yeah, cool. That is such cool stuff. Thank you for this. I am so appreciative. Because I was telling Manjeet, I'm like, I gotta get a hold of my cousin because I know he's got some good stories. And I remembered like the rock thing, but I couldn't remember details. And I just really wanted to hear it from you. And I had no idea that you had more after that. So
there's been a few more, and that was the last one. Like I said, I don't go looking for it.
No, but it seems like you're having some experiences though. So you might maybe one day run into one.
Yeah, you
or
never know.
See it from afar, right?
Yeah, that would be, like I said, I don't know how. I mean, I remember your dad and my dad talking about when they went out in their Chevy and they saw I think it was Jim.
Yep.
Jim and your dad and my dad, and they were out there.
And Aunt Ann was there.
Yeah. And that big thing, stood up in the field.
Yep.
Running across. And then, cousin Ricky talking about on the Machias Bridge when he saw that thing walking, naked, but it was huge. It looked like it was running, but it was actually walking. So
crazy. All our fun stories. Yeah. Good stuff. So looks like you're passing it along. So that's why I love it. I can't wait to hear more. You're going to have to tell me, when these things happen, because I'm in. I'm all in.
Absolutely.
I know Mike and Steve love it too.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about my husband. I think he's kind of like, I don't know if I believe that. How could you I think if you had seen the footprint, how could you not? I mean, that
was the one that was kind of like a little surreal. It was like, what in the heck is this?
Right. Like evidence.
Yeah.
Other than hearing it.
Yeah.
Oh man, creepy and awesome. I love it. Thanks, Mike.
You got it.
So cool. Okay, that was some crazy shit. What did you think of that?
Oh my God. I can't even explain. That is so fucking cool. And what a great storyteller. I just thanks so much for that. That is.
Yeah, he is. He's very calm, very cool. Yeah.
Oh my God. So let's hear what William Russell has to say. And we'll pop back on at the end and see where there are some correlations or if there isn't any.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely. Okay,
enjoy.
Stay tuned.
So, hey, I just want to say thank you very much for doing this with me.
You're welcome.
I know this isn't like your favorite thing to be in the spotlight, but I'm very grateful for you to do this because it's a really cool topic. We're talking about Bigfoot, and it's kind of one of your things. With Sasquatch, right? So I'm gonna just introduce you. You are William Russell. You are the father of my children. And you
As
are
far as I know.
you are a real estate photographer as a profession, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you had a pretty profound incident that happened to you personally with Bigfoot, correct?
Yeah. When I was young, we had a bit of an encounter. Should I just go into telling you how it all went down, or?
Yeah. I maybe just will. You can start with like, where did it happen? Where did it go down?
It happened literally a mile from where we live right now, and it was a mile in the other direction from where I lived at the time. I've lived most of my life here in Everett, and yeah, this was 1980. Um, and yeah, just over in the Silver Lake neighborhood, in the woods, in a
Wow.
ravine.
Holy cow. And so obviously, been developed a lot since the 80s. This whole area.
And the surrounding area, the woods of that ravine are all now houses and stuff. I imagine the
Mm,
ravine is still there, but yeah, the
mm,
100 yards or so of woods that were surrounding it are now
gone.
houses.
Yeah. And so yeah, let's just jump in, man. Let's go in. But maybe get us back to where you were. How old were you? And who were you with?
Yeah, so like it was 1980, so I must have been 8 years old. I'm imagining I know it was right before uh, Empire Strikes Back came out. So whenever that was, I think it must have been late summer because we were out playing in the woods in shorts and t-shirts and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
we're not going to do that too many months of the year here. But it was with me and my two brother neighbors that lived across the street. I don't
Hmm.
know. Should I use their names? Probably not.
Yeah, maybe not, just in case. We didn't really get permission, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's okay. Yeah, but how well, yeah, by the way, Empire Strikes Back release date was May 21st, 1980. So you're right.
Okay, so it was late. It was
It's kind
early
of
summer, late
early
spring.
summer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
late
yeah.
spring. Okay.
But yeah, and how old were those two dudes that were with you?
One of them was 1 year older than me, and then one of them was 3 years older than me.
Okay.
So
And
yeah,
and you were
I was 8, so a 9, and then a 11-year-old.
okay. Yeah. So I think that's really important to like note that you're old enough to know what's what. Like I think sometimes when you're younger, it's easier to kind of, get confused with the animals and.
Yeah. And even with
Yeah.
this, I was old enough to know that, it wasn't fake. It wasn't, someone playing a trick. But I didn't know what it was. I didn't know when I
Yeah.
was 8 about Bigfoot or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
yeah, tell us what
so okay,
happened.
so yeah, it must have been a late spring day. There this place, we called it the Sand Caves. Like I said, it was a ravine. It was called the Sand Caves because someone had the sides of the ravine were sandy. Someone had dug a cave maybe 4 or 5 feet deep in it, and
Oh,
hence
cool.
the name. There was a tree that had fallen over the ravine, and they tied a rope to it. So that was the main attraction down there, is swinging on the
Oh,
rope swing
cool. Yeah.
um,
Sounds
through the
fun.
ravine, and then you know carving curse words into the side of the hill in the sand and stuff like that you do when you're 8 years old and We don't have supercomputers in your pocket.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. And yeah, having,
Yeah,
having our kids now makes you wonder, like, man, those are the
yeah,
good old
yeah, no,
days.
yeah. So anyway, okay, so this particular day, the three of us were down there doing just that, and we were probably down there an hour or so, and it was getting towards time to head back or whatnot. Um, but as we were kind of wrapping it up, we hear rustling in the bushes on the top of the ravine on the far side from us. And we at first just were listening and stuff, and then you could hear like light growling and light, like some sort of irritation from whatever it was. And immediately we thought, okay, older kids trying to trick us,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we, being 8 and 10 or 9 and 11, told them to go fuck off. You're not scaring us. We're not scared of you older kids.
Oh, geez.
And as we did it, it seemed to move faster and just like get a little more irritated. And it they started throwing like rocks, not big rocks or anything, but like rocks were getting thrown down to us from up there. We're
Wow.
like, we're gonna tell our parents you to knock it off, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
F you, we're not scared of you.
Oh, shit.
And then it got mad, really mad at like the defiance or something, because it screamed at us in a way that no, I've never heard it before or since, but there's no way any human could make this scream, this
Yeah.
pissed off growl banshee scream. It was
Wow.
enough to where we went from, hey, screw you, to tears, scrolling down our face, scrambling to get up the side
Holy
of this
shit.
ravine. And I was being the little one. I actually couldn't. I was like, the two brothers got up and I was trying and I couldn't reach it. And I'm like, help, help, come back.
Oh my
And
God.
the older one came back and gave me a hand, and we got up and we scrambled up through the ravine and ran through the woods. And we had ditched our bikes on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
And we got to our bikes and we started walking them home, walking up the hill. And I can't remember exactly who posed it, but one of us said, hey, what if we just, don't go back down the trail to the ravine? What if we go around the side and peek over the edge, and see if we see anything down there? We'll be the fuck Hardy Boys, we'll solve the
Oh.
mystery of in the growling woods or whatever.
Oh, I love
So
it.
so we did that. We backtracked, came back, didn't go down the kind of the pathway, that was the easy access to the ravine. We went, you know, kind of straight through the woods and just peered over the side of the ravine.
Yeah.
And didn't see anything, and we're headed, me and the 10-year or 9-year-old were, still scouting the area, looking around, looking down there. And the older brother said, hey, you guys, and I'm still not sure why he said this, but he said it kind
Yeah.
of loud. He goes, hey, you guys, I think the cops are here.
Oh,
And we're
wow.
like, we look at him like, what? And he's got like, scared shitless look on his face. And we look over to where he's looking, and probably, 30 yards off in the distance,
Yeah.
you can see a figure poking its head out from each side of a tree, going from looking out, going behind the tree, looking back out, then going behind the tree.
Holy shit.
And I think he said the cops are here, not for our sake, but like to tell that thing, hey,
Yeah.
cops are
Yeah.
here, don't fuck with us,
Yeah.
you know.
Totally.
Um,
Oh, man.
but
Man. Wow.
so we'd be like, all right, we're late for our kickball game, we better go get to it, like saying shit loud so it can hear. We would start walking one way, this thing would cut us off, head right down that
Holy.
that our
Shit.
path out of there. Yeah. And oh, another thing about it, it was super fast. It was like super like nimble, and it was all completely covered in hair, obviously, but
Yeah.
it was like gray, all gray hair, like whitish
Wow.
gray hair.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I can only assume it was an albino. No, or a probably older
Oh,
grandpa
yeah.
Bigfoot or
Older?
something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we literally would start walking one way, it would cut us off, off into the distance. We'd walk start the other way, it would scramble over and, cut us off on that path.
Oh my
Um,
God. You must have been so
oh, oh
fucking
yeah.
scared, you guys. I just can't even imagine like being that little and like having this beast and you can't recognize it. You don't know what it's doing. It's making noise. It's aggressive.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
holy
Exactly.
shit. Okay, so
So
you're
eventually we
scurrying.
did
Mhm.
it. Yeah, the mad dash. We were like, we got to try. We made a mad dash one way. It circled around and kind of chased us um, from behind instead of cutting us off.
Oh,
Uh,
geez.
the older brother was out front. I was luckily in the middle. The younger or brother, he's a year older than me, was at last. He says that he felt like its breath on him. He felt it was that close.
Oh
And
my God.
whether it tripped or it decided, hey, I've scared these kids enough and I'm letting it go.
Yeah.
For a reason I'm not exactly sure, it stopped pursuing us. We scrambled out of the woods, bawling our heads off, run to our bikes, run all the way home, you know, like
Holy shit.
frantic, just panic filled, bawling kids.
Oh
And we
my
tell our
God.
parents, and well, I think my dad was home. I know that for sure. My mom and dad. I don't think their parents were home at the time. But yeah, then my dad, he's like, "What? What the hell? It's probably a bum. Probably a bum." And at that time, I didn't even know what a bum was really. I'm like, "Fuck, bum? You mean like bums on the streets? Like homeless people grow completely hairy like that? No way. I have not seen that." Um,
Oh no.
but he said, I'm gonna go down, check it out. I'm like, no, 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 but reluctantly grabbed a BB gun and we ventured back down there, and I'm
Oh
like a
jeez.
sniveling, mess the whole time, and wanting to get out of there.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that was
Did he
so
did you guys see anything when you went when he
no, not the second time. No, no. I don't know if it had vacated the area or just like thought, oh, there's a bigger person here with a gun,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna mess with him. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, I
Wow.
remember this specifically, it being right around when Empire Strikes Back came out, because first of all, I was traumatized. I didn't sleep for like a week. I like was like
Oh.
scared shitless that this thing was going to be like peeking in my window, like, hey, I know where you live,
Oh. Oh my God.
but then, yeah,
Oh.
like a week later or whatnot, going and seeing Empire, and then seeing Chewbacca, going, you know what? That shit is real. Chewbacca's
Ah.
are real. I just saw one. Um,
Oh my God.
uh,
Seriously.
but
But it was brown, not
yeah,
all
well, yeah,
white, but
Chewbacca's brown, but yeah, this was a
yeah.
grandpa Chewbacca, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love
so
that.
yeah, that's
Holy
that was
cow.
my main encounter with Bigfoot.
Jeez Louise, I am so wow. So I just have a couple quick questions
Okay.
for clarity. So you said something about the Bigfoot being really nimble. Like what do you mean by that?
It just moved really fast, like and you know what? I don't remember it being this another thing, like a 7 foot beast type of thing. I remember it being, more in the 6 to 6, 2, 3
Oh,
range,
okay.
It
So,
wasn't, and it wasn't like a giant hulking thing. It was more like a freaking, like a forest ninja, or something.
Yeah, but the
It was
speed,
more,
right?
it was lean, and it just like we started, took a step or two toward one way, and like when it was cutting us off, and it seemed like in the time we took two steps one way, it,
Oh my
bounded
God.
20 feet, that way to cut us off.
Holy shit. I got like total chills when you said that. Like to be that fast and so outpowered, at
Yeah,
that young
yeah.
age, that's like so how would you say that this sighting has like impacted your life at all? Because I'm sure
Oh,
there are
yeah.
people in
I
the
mean,
audience.
the scars run deep.
Mm.
Psychologically, I've been, no, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Um,
Asshole.
no, I know it scared the shit out of me for a while, though. I mean,
Yes, yeah.
like I said, for a solid week, I had a hard time, sleeping by myself, and
Yeah.
it freaked me out. But as time passed, and you retell the story, and I don't know, the fear of it fades. I've been in the woods so many more times since then, and
Yeah.
before then, and never saw anything, so I'm not really worried about the
Yeah.
encounter again. But it would be kind of cool, because now everyone's got cell phones, they can record it.
I know. Well, it's kind of interesting because I wonder if part of that like healing for you is the fact that he didn't kill you. Like if
Oh,
he,
well, yeah,
if they
it'd be hard
wanted
to heal
to,
if it'd be hard
yeah,
to
you
heal
think
if I
too.
was
The
dead.
dead. Yeah. But the fact that that wasn't their purpose is what I mean, right? It was like
Yeah.
you weren't, they weren't trying to kill you necessarily. They were just trying to get you like off their area because it sounds like they could have. I mean, you were
Yeah.
outnumbered.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You were,
And like I said,
outpowered.
the things that stick out to me, the most, that are kind of burned into my memory, are that scream,
Mhm.
and then the way it moved when it's poking its head out from this beside the tree, one after another, and being clearly see, like, there's a gray-haired monkey man animal poking its head from beside a
Jeez.
tree in front of us. What the fuck is going
Oh my
on?
God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I remember years later we found some audio. Do you remember that? We were upstairs and
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah,
found
yeah,
that audio footage
yeah,
and I
yeah.
played it and you heard it was like this "Ah," and it just
Yeah,
like it
yeah.
was a
And it was like
scream.
recorded in Snohomish in like
Yes.
1979 or something. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so it was like, okay, we look right over the Snohomish Valley, and this was, 6 months later. It might have been the same
Yes.
dude.
Yeah, and you're just your whole face. I'll never forget that. It just went like, I mean, you're already white, but you went
Yeah.
like really, you went like really white. It was like, and then I remember you stood up and you kind of paced a little, like it was like, your body recognized that sound. It was like, oh fuck, man, that is the sound, and it was terrifying. Like for me hearing it, and I
Yeah.
didn't ever hear it live, so I was
Yeah.
it was pretty surreal to see your reaction to it, that you just can't make that kind of reaction up. Like it was like your body recognized that sound and it was like holy, got you out of your seat, like oh fuck.
Yeah, yeah, and that recording, I remember, it sounded like it, it was definitely, distinctly the same type of aggression and pattern and stuff as the one I heard, but it sounded like it was recorded, like from, maybe half a mile or a mile away or something. So just
Yeah.
imagine that same shit, but instead it's coming from above you, 30,
Yes.
40, 30 feet above you, 40 feet above you, directly down on you. And
Wow.
yeah, it freaked
Yeah.
freaked me out.
Yeah. So I just have one last question for you. What do you think like they are, Bigfoot? What do you like where do you think they're from? Like what do you have any
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought of it. I just always thought of it was like a, you know, s- missing link type vibe,
Yeah.
some animal that has somehow evaded scientific detection, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're supernatural or anything, but I don't know. Who knows? What, maybe
Yeah.
that's how they never get caught because they can fucking transport or teleport or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
it's
I just know there's,
crazy.
with the number of sightings and then I just know because I know
Mhm.
it happened to me. So,
Yeah.
but I'm not exactly sure what it is.
Yeah. And that's valid. And I am so grateful for you to do this. I know this is not something you love to do. I mean, sharing your story is something you have passion around, but to do this, and Mayum and I are just so appreciative, and we love you very much. So thank you for doing this. And
You're very welcome.
yeah, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Thanks.
I will
I'm
do anything
gonna.
for love, but I won't do that.
Oh my God. I'm just freaking out right now.
I can't. So what do you think, Megan? What do you think of those two
Oh,
stories?
I think that so these interviews, these were done recently after we had already recorded part one. So we had
Mhm.
done all the research. So I'm kind of like in awe that the stories match up with the other encounters that you hear around the country, and like
Yeah.
the knocking of the trees, and
Yes.
first of all, fucking white fur.
Yeah.
That freaked me out. That
I
freaked me
know.
out.
It's not what you would expect, right? So
I
it's so
know.
disarming, and just that we were like, well, is it an older, like Bigfoot? Like we
Oh,
don't,
like a
what, or is it
wise, yeah.
a different race? Maybe they have different colors like people
Uh-huh.
do.
Or was
Like
it traveling from the Himalayas?
yeah.
Stopping by to visit relatives for Thanksgiving? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that dude's lost. That's all I'm saying. That Bigfoot got lost quick.
Oh
If he's
my
from the fucking,
gosh.
yeah,
Eh,
it's so amazing. And I have to say that that part with Mike about the rocks getting thrown, which is similar to kind of what William's story was about the rock throwing,
Yeah,
almost
the
like
rock
this, like
drawing.
get the fuck out of here, right?
Yeah,
Warning.
basically. Hmm.
Yeah, but that base or basketball rock, like just to just thinking about the physics of that, like you've got to
Oh
be a
my God.
big person
Uh-huh.
to throw it at that kind of velocity with that kind of aim. That's
I
the part that
know.
really freaks me out, and I just get chills thinking about it, that he's so lucky he didn't get hit. Like he
Well,
could have
I
been
think
killed.
he, if they wanted to, right?
Yeah.
If it
I
wanted to, they could. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just keep thinking,
Crazy.
wow,
Anyway.
yeah, they don't want to kill us, or they probably would have. Kind of like aliens.
You can see Manjeet's face when she said that. Yes, kind of like aliens. No, seriously, if they wanted to, they could. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But here, right here in our backyard, right here in the Pacific
Yes.
Northwest, I mean, Lake Stevens Pass, Everett, Washington. Fuck,
Yes.
I grew up
Yeah,
in
this is really a hot spot. It has been, and for a long time. And so I just think it's really cool that, it kind of correlates with some of that technical data that we were talking
yeah,
about in the Bigfoot 1 series. But I am just really like, this kind of like really got my juices flowing. Like I want to hear
yeah,
more stories. And we talked about
I
this
know.
offline, right? Just hearing this and talking about it. It's like, who else has any stories? Like, please contact us. Let us know. Cause
Yes.
right. We want to,
Well,
I
and
mean,
even let's
we're
say
in.
what didn't happen to you, but maybe you have heard the stories where it happened to your dad or your grandpa or a friend.
Yes.
You just have heard the accounts. So if you have
Yeah.
something to share, just reach out to us. And what we can do is we can have you on air telling the story. It's kind of interesting.
Oh,
This
yeah.
Bigfoot
I
series.
love
I'm
it.
loving it. I love it too.
So we hope you really enjoyed
Yay.
this Bigfoot series as much as me and I did, because oh my gosh, this really just feeds our mystical, magical souls.
I was just going to say that exact same thing. Swear to holy God. Mystical, magical. I can't even believe you just said that. I love
Well, we are
it.
soul sisters, so
We
there's
are.
that. I know. I love it. Well, thank you all for listening. And
Okay.
again, please let us know if you have any thoughts, or if you think, even if you think we're full of horseshit,
Yep. Maybe.
let
Yeah,
us know. We
absolutely.
would love to hear from
So
you.
cool. So cool. Yep. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We're Light Workers
Yes.
Unite, and we're so excited to have you. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yes. Namaste.
Bye, man.
Bye, honey.